What's up, guys, and welcome back to what should be game number 3 between B+5 and Kompas Gaming, the Division 1 and 2 playoff to decide who, well, I don't know if it's the ultimate thing, but it's part of who is going to be going into Division 1 and who's going to be staying in Division 2. This is game 3 of the best of 3. It was nice 2 games previous. We'll see if this game can live up to the last. Here on HeflaTV 2, I'm going to be one of your casters. I'm Mike Loris, and I'm still joined by Grandis V. Grandis, what did you think about that last game?
Oh, it was a whole lot of fun to watch. It's always fun to watch a Meepo that actually gets off of the ground and is able to pull out a win. And if you weren't watching game number 2 with us, I highly recommend going back and watching the VOD for it. But in the end, it was just too much for Kompas Gaming to combat up against. They were able to get that early lane of racks down, and from there it was pretty smooth sailing, despite at the time them being fairly even in the gold department after they got that first racks. It was just, I don't know, a very straightforward game for them. There were a couple of fights where the B+5 looked a little shaky, and Kompas Gaming held off for a very long time, so props to them. It just wasn't enough at the end of it.
Death Ward is a pretty good skill, especially with that Aghanims upgrade. When all the Meepos are nice and clumped up, they're going to be bouncing, and things are going to be dying. And, well, that was a Lycan picked and lost, so B+5 with the first pick this time. We'll see if the Lycan gets through one more time. Both teams kind of prefer to take or take out the Tinker, so wouldn't be surprised to see that again this game. But no, it's going to be Lycan kicked out from Kompas. They had their run with it, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it really didn't work. Although I don't blame Kompas for bending it out. I don't think leaving it in, or taking it up, rather, the earlier game. It's still a pretty solid hero, and I'm not sure it was really the Lycan's fault, although he got caught out a lot of times before they actually found their footing in the team fights. He was kind of just doing his own thing, playing PvE for the most part, and I'm not sure if that was really how Kompas Gaming wanted to handle that game, but we're not going to be seeing a Lycan this time around. Tinker on the dire side is a little bit less impactful, and it will be available if Kompas Gaming want to bend it out here, which they will not. So B+5, they could first pick up the Tinker, which we saw Kompas Gaming doing in game number 1, although I don't think we're going to see that. Scar's Mage's choice for B+5, a solid hero that you really can't go wrong with.
Yeah, it's hard to have a Scarth Mage not fit into a team comp, although game number 1, it certainly did seem like that for a little bit, but that was ages ago, so we're not going to be dwelling on game number 1, mostly because no one really remembers what happened in game number 1. All we have to know is that Kompas Gaming took the win. Kompas Gaming now with the 2 picks available to them. Death Prophet has been a pretty large factor for these past couple of games. Afloninj played a decent one last game, did a lot of damage, and really didn't get caught out as much as everyone else on Kompas Gaming. So it might be a solid pickup for them. Viper also in the pool, so Doom also is a possibility, although I don't think Doom was banned or picked in either of the past 2 games.
No, I don't think so either, and I'm not entirely surprised. Doom, although a very useful hero, in most lineups he's, I don't know, very punishable, and especially if you show him early on, and he just didn't really seem to fit into the compositions of either team. Kompas, I would love to see them pick up the Mirana again. The Mirana that was played in game number 1 was very much on point. And if they find that groove again, it could be really solid for them, although I'm not sure if I want to see it in this first 2 picks. Kompas Gaming, they do have the Radiant side. We might just see the Tinker Mirana they brought out in game number 1, although I'm not exactly sure what provoked that. It's not a bad combination by any stretch of the imagination, or a bad first 2 picks, I should say. They don't really have much synergy between each other. But then again, it's not the greatest. I'm not sure where they're going to go. They could just go all in, push with the Death Prophet. Shadow Shaman, it's, I don't know, just up for grabs.
Alright, Kompas, so they're really taking their time on determining these first 2 heroes. If they're taking this long, then really I think they're going to prioritize flexibility as their first 2 heroes, and they're not going to lock themselves into going into any particular direction. Heroes like the Shadow Shaman, Death Prophet are good at that. They could go into pushing, they could go into the long game, they could be very aggressive when they need to be, or very defensive should that be the need. But right now it's going to be nothing for them. They could just go for something around the lines of Viper, which could be okay right now, but hell, we could list out possibilities until the end of time, but unfortunately for us, we only have 10 more seconds to do so, as Kompas Gaming, they are here, right? This first 2 picks usually don't take
still
this
here.
long.
It really doesn't. Reserve time is completely out the window, with the exception being of 7 seconds for Kompas Gaming. It's going to be Nature's Prophet, and, well, their second pick is going to take some more time. They start off with a fairly non-committal hero. He's pretty good in most situations. He can push fairly early on. He's okay taking it late with his split push, and he can be active early on as well. Nature's Prophet, hardly ever a bad hero. He doesn't really shine it a lot, but a lot of teams are very comfortable with the hero, and I can't really fault them for going for it, especially if they're under a lot of pressure to snag it up before the reserve time falls through. Kompas Gaming, I have no idea what the second pick is going to be. It's just going to be the Shadow Shaman. A lot of pushing power coming out from these two, but they definitely are pretty flexible in how they could run it.
And that'll depend on what Bennett +5 pick up, with the Earthshaker very quickly snatched by Bennett +5. They're going to shore their support lineup up very, very quickly, and that means we're going to have the possibility for a couple more fun cores, and I certainly hope that's going to come about. Scarith Mage, Earthshaker, a very, very solid combination, and really you could run any cores you want. It doesn't really matter what you pick up, because these two supports will be there to be aggressive or bail you out, depending on what you actually need to have happen. Kompas Gaming, they're a little bit aggressively slanted with a Shadow Shaman, Nature's Prophet. They could go super aggressive if they wanted to run an aggressive tri-lane and have Nature's Prophet. Be there with teleportations, maybe go for that Null Talisman build. That's all the rage nowadays, but still both sides are going to be pretty comfortable with where they're sitting right now, as they just have a lot of flexibility. With Kompas Gaming going to get the first pick after this initial ban, or the secondary ban phase, they're going to be looking for a solid mid lane hero as well as maybe another support. With Wraith King themselves, they banned out Wraith King themselves, which is a little bit awkward. It would have been a pretty nice support pickup for them, but they don't really know what support they're going to go for, but I don't really think it matters that much. I think they're probably going to hold on to their support pick for a little bit later, actually.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say, especially since your top-tier supports, the big four, Scarlet Mage, Shaker, Shadow Shaman, Wraith King, are all either taken or picked. Rubik is still available, but yeah, I think we're just going to see a lot of cores in the second picking stage. Death Prophet is going to get the X out by Bennett +5. Kompas Gaming do have the first pick out of the second banning stage. They don't have a lot of time to think about this next ban, as there's no reserve time to fall back on, which is usually where you see teams use it, is this little gap when you have to think about your ban and then your pick afterwards. It's going to be a Batrider ban, and Kompas Gaming, who knows what they're going to go for from here. It's going to be this pick that sets the mood for the rest of the draft.
Yeah, really doesn't. It's up to the team. It's not that like they need to be going in any particular direction to counterpick Bandit +5. It's just what do they want to play right now, and how deep do they want to go into the pushing. They could go for something like a Pugna, and that would be a really nice hero versus Scarith Mage, and would also be another great pusher. So if they just want to run in that direction, that would be a really nice pickup. It's definitely a hero that you could punish if you're Bennett +5, but it's also just such a strong pushing hero from Kompas. It's a very, very nice hero to have, and for now they're going to get the pushing support in the Jakiro with the Shadow Shaman. Pugna's got to be coming, right?
I would say so, but Bennett +5, they could snag it up for themselves and build a little bit of pushing lineup, although they don't have a lot of other heroes to combo with it. Kompas Gaming, it looks like they're just going to go all in for it. With the Jakiro, there's no real reason why you shouldn't, as Jakiro really thrives when he's able to push down those towers with the Liquid Fire very early on, and with the Pugna, you'll definitely be able to do so. But Bennett +5, pick up a lone Druid. Very peculiar pick. It's going to be pretty solid for transitioning into the tower pushes later on, but I think this hero is just going to get online a little too late, and it's going to make that Pugna all the more tasty looking for Kompas Gaming to snag.
Yeah, the Lone Druid is kind of on the fence. I'm kind of on the fence with Lone Druid in general nowadays. The bear is so easy to shut down because he can't like resummon it to deny that 300 gold, and Kompas Gaming, with what they have right now, they're fully capable of isolating and killing off a bear with Shackles, Hex, Ice Path, and also Nature's Prophet Sprout, which are all great tools for killing off a bear. It's going to be a Dragonite for Kompas. They get their secondary core, so it looks like they are going fully, or mostly, into the pushing strategy. With the Dragonite going mid, Nature's Prophet going to be soloing, most likely top, and then Jakiro, Shadow Shaman. I still think Pugna, if Bandit +5 don't ban it out, it's going to be snapped picked from Kompas Gaming. But if they don't get their hands on that one, then even going something fully aggressive like Leshrac for pushing wouldn't be a terrible direction to go, but I think by far Pugna is what they want to be looking for. Sniper is also in the pool, and we do see snipers picked up occasionally in these scenarios, so wouldn't mind seeing that either.
Yeah, it shores up their late game a decent amount. Honestly, I'm kind of sad we don't see the Pugna here in the Dragonite slot, as Pugna's probably going to get banned. A Sniper might be pretty effective, as the Earthshaker's not going to get a Blink Dagger for quite a long time, and he can stay out of range of the Fissure for a long time during those team fights. I don't know, it's a very unconventional pick, but I'd love to see it. But Net plus 5 picked themselves up a Viper, another tanky core, to go along with that lone Druid and presumably their mechanism carrier. Right now, Net plus 5 are not without ways of fighting, although their initiation doesn't come online until a little bit later.
This is very similar to what we saw in game number 1 from Bennett plus 5, where they pick up 3 core heroes who are perfectly self-sufficient in lane. Viper, Lone Druid rarely ever need any help from their supports, and I would expect their last one to be kind of in the same vein. This opens up Earthshaker and Scarith Mage to roam very aggressively and do pretty much whatever the hell they want. With Juggernaut being banned out, Kompas Gaming going to respect the possibility of Lone Druid Juggernaut combo. It is a devastating one, although I don't really think Bennett plus 5 are going to go in that direction. Kompas didn't really have that much time to think about it. Bennett plus 5, they have a nice solid support duo, and this time if they could roam around, they'll be able to get a lot done, but it has to be a Pugna ban, and if they don't pick it up, then Bennett plus 5, they're going to be forced to fight very early. Lone Druid is an exceedingly average early game fighter. Entangle is really nice. You're going to need to get Phase Boots and Orb of Venom if you really want to be effective early stage. Maybe even go for a Maelstrom instead of Radiance. But yeah, I don't know if Bennett plus 5 have enough in the tank in order to take fights super early.
Yeah, neither do I. Currently, it's Bennett plus 5 considering their last ban. I think the Pugna is more or less a no-brainer here, although they might have something else in mind. They have plenty of time to think about it, and will just be the Pugna taken out of the pool. And Kompas Gaming, they're going to have to show their cards. What's this last pick going to be for them? They would have loved the Pugna, I would say, but Venomancer is available and might be another option for them as far as just another pushing hero that's going to offer some more slow siege. Offers a little bit different tool set than the Pugna, but can function effectively. Whether the Jakiro or the Venomancer in that situation get the farm is another story, and I'm not sure it actually matters all that much. Kompas Gaming, 10 seconds, here we go.
They could also go for something along the lines of Invoker, Clinks, all these other heroes, more fringe heroes that could still push if it does come to it. Gyrocopter, not exactly the hero that we were really expecting, isn't really noted as a pushing hero, in quotation marks, air quotation marks, but still is a hero that's able to push early. And between Dragonite and Jakiro, that's like 2.5 dragons right there, they're going to be able to push the towers effectively, and at that point they just have to worry about the fighting from Bennett plus 5. So Gyrocopter, if you're going to be fighting early, it pretty much doesn't get better than the Gyrocopter, especially since he scales so well into the later game. So I like this draft that Kompas Gaming have put together for themselves, and Bennett plus 5, what they need right now is just a way to initiate these fights, because right now they don't have anything.
Centaur's available and might be a solid choice. Tidehunter also has slipped through the cracks and could be a pretty solid hero. But yeah, it's Bennett plus 5 that need a way to start things once they get level 6 at the very least, and presumably a Blink Dagger carrier for them. Kompas Gaming, their lineup, despite being able to angle towards the extremely early game, is also going to be looking pretty good in the later portions. Nature's Prophet, Dragonite, and Gyrocopter, of course, all scale very well with farm if they're able to get 6 led. And as scary as the Lone Druid is late, they are going to be able to deal with him pretty effectively. Clockwork, the last pick for Bennett plus 5, synergize as well with the Scarith Mage, and we'll just give them that way to initiate the fights. Clockwork, as soon as he gets this level 6, or maybe level 7, he's going to want to roam around and look for kills around the map.
Alright guys, so we are in the game, and this is the third and final game between Kompas Gaming and Bennett plus 5 with the Clockwork last pick. Bennett plus 5 have found themselves a way to get into the fight, and hopefully before Kompas Gaming have taken down all the towers, but Clockwork, if he does hookshot in, he's going to be painting a target for himself, because there's a lot of stuff that Kompas Gaming can throw his way, but we'll see if that actually comes to be of any relevance, as they're now loading up into their lanes. We got Jinx God on the Bennett plus 5 side playing the Clockwork. Blacks is going to be supporting on the Earthshaker, and IDFC is going to be on the Viper. That leaves Unidin on the Scarith Mage, and up top it's going to be Jabane Zero playing that Lone Druid.
And on the Radiant side, we are going to have Kompas Gaming with Fee handling the Jakiro. He's going to be supporting Artis on the Gyrocopter with Shadow Shaman, handled by Goddamn. In the mid lane, we are going to have our Dragonite handled by Afo Ninja, and the offlane hero is going to be Nature's Prophet, played by Gorik here. Both of these teams kind of shuffle around their heroes, or players on their heroes, depending on what their stat gap. I quite like it. I think it's a better way of going than pigeonholing yourself into a specific role, and rather learning heroes very well. Currently, the bottom rotation isn't going to pan out. A Fissure was thrown, but it didn't end up meaning anything, so just a little bit of mana spent by the Earthshaker, and that's about it. And with 3 clarities, he doesn't actually care that much. He does drop the ward pretty deep into the enemy side of the map, and they have some good vision in the enemy woods, and they are going to block some of the camps as well. With that sentry placed, this aggressive tri-lane coming out from, or rather, defensive tri-lane from Kompas Gaming is going to have a little bit of difficulty punishing this Clockwork. He should be able to get some pretty good experience under his tower.
Yeah, they could always zone him back with the liquid fire and stuff like that, but they don't have a pole camp, and the sentry ward, there is one available for Goddamn, though I don't think he knows that this pole camp is warded just yet. This bottom tri-lane is still going to be very easy for Kompas Gaming. There's no way that the Clockwork could actually get any kills, and if he does, then it's going to be, you know, Kompas Gaming really screwing up there. So it should be assured farm for the Gyrocopter, but at the same time, it's pretty much going to be the exact same thing on the top lane. Lone Druid versus the Nature's Prophet is a lane that Lone Druid can handle all by himself, and he's just going to get a little bit of help from his buddies. Gorak actually in quite a bit of trouble as he does get fissured. I think there is enough room to run through that, but he's actually going to run the other way. Blacks is going to get one punch with that double damage, and Gorak should be fine with the boots. Unidin is going to throw another concussive shot, and suddenly Gorak taking a little bit more damage. There's no mana on the Earthshaker, though. If he didn't, if he didn't pop that first fissure in the early stage, he would have had another one in 2 seconds, and this would have been a guaranteed kill on the Nature's Prophet. But instead, I don't know if it's going to be enough. The boots should help the Nature's Prophet escape. I think he's going to be fine.
Place your bets, place your bets. Nature's Prophet is probably going to live here. The concussive shot slow is going to wear off, and with the boots, I think he's going to be able to outrun the Earthshaker, especially since the double damage rune has worn off. If he had the double damage rune, it would have been a lot closer, but they still might be able to snag him out. The body blocks don't come out from the tree, and he's still running for all he's worth. There's no support coming up from Gork. I think he's going to survive, clarity up. Brax looking potentially for another fissure, but that just came way too late. Nature's Prophet survives, but completely zoned out on the other side of the map. Courier snipe. Oh no, Earthshaker. They're not microing it. Punch it. Punch it. Oh no. He needs one more. He stutter stepped a little bit. There's going to summon the treants and body block off Gorik. Gorik might be in a little bit of trouble as the fissure's going to come off of cooldown. Ugh. Very close on both accounts. The Nature's Prophet as well as the Courier. Courier's going to survive and now walking very slowly back to base with the full bottle, but Black's going to not throw out a fissure. They're going to start off with a concussive shot, line up the fissure perfectly, now block behind the trees. The right clicks are going to be there. First blood finally drawn by these two supports. That took long enough.
How often do you see first blood being drawn over there? That's just so uncommon. And Gorik even took a sip of Afro Ninja's bottle that was had one more charge on it on the Courier. He grabbed that, drank it, and then just went up and died. So now, obviously, that wasn't the intention or anything like that, but now Goddamn's going to run into Jinx God. He's caught in the cogs, and this is going to be a free kill for the Clockwork. Goddamn can do literally nothing except for wait his inevitable demise as Clockwork, with this Observer Ward, providing himself some serious vision, is going to get himself a nice free kill. That's going to be an early 0-2 advantage in favor of Bennett +5 as they do take down Gorik, as well as support in the Shadow Shaman. It's pretty much as good of a start as they could possibly ask for. Every single kill delays the push by just a little bit, and, well, suddenly their lanes aren't looking too terrible, although Jinx God's still potentially in a little bit of trouble, especially if, never mind, there's no shackle in the Shadow Shaman's gone for shock level 1, and there is a missile on Arties, but if they had the shackle, that could have been a kill.
Yeah, Jinx God now with the salve is going to be able to stick around, although he doesn't have a lot of mana and definitely won't be able to get any kills, and decides, in fact, to go all the way back to base. This Clockwork still finding himself level 4, or almost level 4, I should say, just one creep away from it, is looking really solid, and the Nature's Prophet hasn't even found his level 2 just yet. He has enough mana for one more Treant Sun, but he was completely zoned away and then gave up the first blood. Bennett +5, they're getting away with a lot more than I thought they would in this early portions of the game. The mid matchup is also going to be in favor of Bennett +5, as expected, although not as much as I would have thought. Dragon Knight's still able to get enough CS with the Breathe Fire. 14-5 compared to the 12-2 of the Viper. Avernin, she's doing as well as he can, but this Viper, slowly but surely, once he gets a couple more levels up, is going to be able to zone the Dragon Knight out a lot more effectively. Although, the wave clear coming up from the Dragon Knight, if they do get a kill on the Viper, his tier 1 tower is probably going to fall. It's still looking really good for Bennett +5.
Yeah, Viper is going for a rather defensive build versus the Dragon Knight. I think I would have liked to see a little more of an aggressive build, maybe just one Corrosive Skin, then another into Poison Attack and or Nether Toxin. You don't really need that much magic defense versus the Dragon Knight, and well, now he can't really get a kill once he gets level 6, just because he won't do enough damage against the Dragon Blood, but either way, the Viper is handling the lane very well. The top lane, Lone Druid, has not been touched at all. The Spirit Bear is actually holding on to a Ring of Basilius. Kind of an uncommon pickup from Spirit Bears because usually there's bigger and more important items to get. They're going to go for Jinx God once again down on bottom lane. The Shackle is there, but the Gyrocopter can't get close enough for the Rocket Barrage. In fact, gets bounced back twice. Shock is going to be there. Needs one more hit. They do get the Clockwork. It was right on the edge, but a kill is a kill. And Kompas Gaming are going to get themselves on the board now with 1,100 gold in the Gyrocopter. That's going to be his completed phase boots. Cogs are being a pain, but if you get through it with enough burst damage, then Clockwork not going to have a fun time. But soon he's up to level 6, and once that happens, he could look towards top lane, or even look towards these supports and get very easy solo kills there.
Yeah, for sure. TP down towards bottom. From the Nature's Prophet, they're going to put some pressure on this tower and probably take it. There's not a lot that Clockwork can do about this, although it's not going to be a very fast push. I think it's pretty safe for them to do so, but it's a lot of time the Nature's Prophet is doing very little to nothing as far as getting experience is concerned. Clockwork is going to show his face. He'll have a flare to pull off the creep aggro for the next wave and picks up the last hit and is going to draw the creeps off. Earthshaker now rotated down here will offer a fissure, but this tower eventually is going to drop up in top. Lone Druid not hitting the tower up there, but it has been abandoned. Eventually they'll do something about it. Gorik is going to be forced back to base, or maybe not forced, is going to go back to base after eating a little bit of nuke damage. And for now, the tier 1 tower still stands, 390 HP.
I would say in general, this has been one of the most unimpressive Nature's Prophet pushes I've ever seen. Coming forward with a level 1 teleport and a level 1 Nature's Call, doing less than nothing. It's Jinx God stuck in a very awkward position. He's going to try to dig his way through his own cogs. Going to catch up to Goddamn. This might even be another kill for Jinx God. He's going to take a full brunt of a level 2 Rocket Barrage. Going to bring him down to about half HP. Goddamn now with the shackles. Jinx God going to get the Battery Assault onto a creep instead of RT's. The right click damage not quite going to be enough to kill him off right now, but with the last Flak Cannon shot, Clockwork is going to go down one more time, burned out all the mana from RT's, and drops Goddamn low pretty well. But it's going to be another kill down this bottom lane. RT is getting yet another kill, and even though the Lone Druid is still farming up on top, he's not farming heads, which is exactly what the Gyrocopter is doing. They can't get this tower down just yet, but they'll be damned if they don't try.
Yep, it's going to be dropped down another 50 HP or so, and eventually they'll take it. This Gyrocopter having pretty much the perfect time that you can ask of your Gyrocopters. 2 kills under his belt as well as 40 CS. They are going to secure themselves an Invis rune on their Dragon Knight, and well, with this, they might be able to find a kill, and if they get a kill, this tower is going to fall, and even without it, they have Dragon form, and if they really want to commit it, they can take that tower. Dragon Knight leaving this lane is going to give Viper a little bit more room, but still, a very passive build coming out from IDFC. 2 points in Nether Toxin is wonderful for CS, but I would have liked to see him prioritize Poison Attack a little bit more. This Dragon Knight, despite being disadvantaged in the lane matchup, is still able to get something out of it, which is more than you can ask of most other melee heroes up against the Viper.
The Viper is definitely scared about rotations from Shadow Shaman and the Jakiro, but both of those two heroes have really not left their jungle or their side of the map in that, this jungle corner, I guess, whatever you want to call that. So the Viper going for his defensive build is pretty much the wrong build versus the Dragon Knight, where you could very easily normally punish Dragon Knight for being a melee hero. Once you hit level 6, you could just go for the kill with the Viper Strike. It can't be done now, and now they're going to open up with the Dragon Tail. Here's where their Toxin is going to help, but I don't even know if it's going to help enough. Yeah, it's mostly physical damage at this point. That's a kill on the Viper, who's teleporting in. Earthshaker, not a good idea, although Dragon Knight didn't bottle up, so he doesn't have enough mana for another Dragon Tail. Yep, despite that, they're going to go for this push. Gorik with level 3 Nature's Call is going to bring this tower down pretty low with the help of that Corrosive Breath. It's going to be a trade at the very best for Kompas Gaming, as they already have lost their top lane tower, but maybe they get 2. Bottom lane's also being pushed, and they don't have much of a creep wave. Mid lane, Deny is possible. Here comes a Skywrath Mage. Deny is not going to be there. Dragon Knight gets the kill. Does have enough mana for a Dragon Tail. Him and Gorak can get a kill into unit, although now he doesn't have any more mana, so that's a little bit awkward. Here comes the Viper once again. Jinx God also getting right into the middle of everything. Gorak's going to be chased down by the Clockwork. He will be brought down. And now Afro Ninja is going to try to kill off Blacks or something. Put poison damage onto everyone, I guess, and then get no one. That's going to be 2 kills in favor of B+5, but there are 2 towers going the way of Kompas Gaming.
Another very topsy-turvy game. The early portions going very well for B+5, starting out 2-0, then the 3-0 strike back from Kompas Gaming, and just now they overextended, stuck around mid a little too long. I thought that would have been a clear retreat, as now they're going for the tier 2 tower down in bottom. The person who hasn't been touched is Artis on the Gyrocopter, now with complete Aquila as well as Drums at sub 9 minutes in, as soon as he sends that out to himself in the courier. And now with the tier 2 tower also falling in their favor, or presumably falling in their favor, especially now that the Surf Boards are committed, they're going to find themselves even more gold going the way of this Gyro. They have an Ice Path available and potentially could find themselves IDFC. It is going to clip them on just the edge, but it's not very long range, or long duration stun. Won't be able to find the shackles. Fisher's going to be thrown out, doesn't catch anything, and that's going to be it. KPG. This Gyrocopter is going to be very scary, although I'm not a huge fan of this build. Well, it's going to help him fight very effectively right now. I would have liked to see just a straight up BKB. Either way, it doesn't actually matter because he's well on his way towards that item on top of it, with the Ogre Club now completed. Artis has all of the farm in the world.
Affinage going to get hook shot up in the middle lane. He will try to bottle his way through, but there's just way too much magical damage. Level 4 Battery Assault, hitting only one target, plus Scarith Mage just doing his consistent damage with the Arcane Bolts. Going to be a very easy kill for Ben at +5. This is going to be one of those games where the one team holds the gold advantage because they've been taking down towers, and the other holds the experience advantage because they've been getting all the kills. At a certain point, they're going to clash, and really it depends on how well the gold team can fight. If they take one good fight, then suddenly everything's tied up, and Ben and +5 are going to be on the back foot if that does happen. So with the Dragon Knight now up, they're going to probably look for more towers. The Lone Druid, taking a quick gold check on him. He's only at 1500 actually. He's gone for quite a few intermediary items in the Orb of Venom, Ring of Basilius, and even full-on phase boots for the Spirit Bear. Now, as good as those items are, I think it would have been better to just use all his free time to just straight up rush a relic, because he probably would have been, you know, about 500 gold away from that if he just went for that item straight up. Instead, he's not really doing anything with these phase boots, aside from just pushing the lane, I guess. He's not going for any kills, and now IDFC gonna get hit with the Dragon Tail. Hookshot is going to fly right by. Artie's taking quite a bit of damage, though. There's another stun onto the Viper, but Artie's still dropping very low. He's gonna get caught in the cogs, and he will go down. Affinage is gonna try to kill the Viper, but he's so durable with that mech. Another Dragon Tail and a Mystic Flare onto the Dragon Knight. It's going to be a 2-for-1 in total, as Goddamn now on his way out. He does have the wards if things get really bad, but it looks like he won't even need to use them, as Jakiro does teleport in. In the meantime, top lane, the Lone Druid is going to take down a tier 2 tower all by himself. Fortification or not, this tower is going to fall. And Kompas Gaming, this is not the trade that they really wanted to make.
Yeah, it's really not 4-7, and now the towers are also going to start evening out as the tier 2 tower is taken up towards top. In fact, this map is entirely mirrored in that respect. I don't know, Gyrocopter as well as the Dragon Knight just getting caught out a little bit out of position. I thought that would go a lot better for them since the Clockwork Hookshot missed, but he was still able to line up the cogs, and with Battery Assault it was enough damage. Unfortunate that they lost their Viper there, but with the Mechanism Power Treads as well as a maxed out Corrosive Skin, he's able to survive for quite a long time throughout all of that.
Rocket Barrage isn't maxed out, actually. I think that definitely would have been the difference between getting a Viper kill and getting out, and, well, not getting the Viper kill and sticking around for just a little bit too long. The Rocket Barrage was hitting only the Viper, and if it did have that one additional point, Viper would have gone down and Dragon Knight probably would have survived, but instead the Gyrocopter, because he cleared out like something like 8 stacks of camps total, he has gone for a very heavy flat cannon build to farm that up, which is understandable, but you know, it's going to, as we see, cost him a lot of kill potential, and that's going to hurt down the line. It's still not a terrible position for Kompas Gaming to be in. They would rather like to have these trades not happen, but they could still go for these tower pushes, but for now they're going to be on the defensive. Unit is going to run into Fee, but it looks like it's going to be a straight push. This Lone Druid has actually gone for a Maelstrom, so no relic in sight probably at all this game, and it's going to be a pretty easy tower destruction down on bottom lane. This Lone Druid's bear isn't attacking the fastest, but he's hitting pretty damn hard, and with Demolish, this tower is going to be chunked down really easily, but it won't be for free. Top lane is going to be the trade.
Yep, so continuing throughout this game, we are going to see the map look more or less the same on either side, at least tied in the respective towers. The Lone Druid, he isn't going to be going for the Radiance, at least not now. He's going to complete up the Maelstrom, and for all intents and purposes, this Lone Druid is completely online. He can start joining fights and stop fighting, or he can just keep on pushing. Either way, this Lone Druid is still a force to be reckoned with. Up in top, they're going to be forced to defend, but maybe they're just going to go for the full out on trade. They are going to find themselves a kill on the Jakiro with the cogs, as well as the Scarith Mage Mystic Flare. Fairly easy pick off for them. Surfboard's committed to the top tier 2. Fisher's going to defend this a little bit longer, and the Lone Druid with his bear is pushing to this bottom tier 2 faster than the Surfboards and the entire enemy team. It is probably just going to be a straight-up trade at the end of the day, but they are TPing in their Viper, and he'll farm up some of the Serpent Words on top of it. On the backlines, we do have the Skyrath Mage going to throw the Concussive Shot the way of Affinage, and now the Nature's Prophet TPing in. They're not going to find the Deny, but they will get the tower down at bottom as well. Cogs are going to bounce back Artist, and the Blade Mail, he's trying to find somebody, but the creeps are around and can't get enough damage off. He's going to be stunned up, and, well, I think that was a canceled TP. Artist is going to be able to get out of there alive, but Affinage might not be so lucky, so way to cancel it. No, there's not, and so it is just going to be a straight-up trade. Shadow Shaman is currently in a very awkward situation with no TP. Does have a 4-staff, and I don't think that they know he's around.
I'm actually really surprised that Kompas Gaming all managed to get out alive. It could have been really bad. Fortunately for Kompas, that their Jakiro got picked off before that tower push, and as weird as that is to say, that drew out the hookshot from the Clockwork. If he had a hookshot there, then Ben at +5 definitely would have fought, and they definitely would have come out ahead, but they didn't, and it's going to be just an even tower trade. This is going to equalize the gold score, and because Ben at +5 have more kills, they're going to still hold the experience advantage. This lone druid has so far been unchallenged at all this game. Like, he's been playing PvE for the most part, just taking down towers, not running into any heroes ever, and that's really heavily benefiting them. Now Bennett +5, they're going to look to equalize this tower count as Goddamn is going to get with a concussive shot and the Echo Slam. That's a really dead Shadow Shaman. Fee also taking quite a bit of damage, has a macro pyre. I think he might have to drop it in desperation, although he's going to find himself a nook to hide in. He will be just fine. Now the call down is going to land onto everyone. Macro pyre and Ice Path going to catch on both Viper and Blacks. That's going to be the death of Blacks, and then the Viper shortly after. He's going to try to run away, but the missile will kill him off, if not for the dot, and it will be Nature's Prophet to take the kill there. That was some pretty nice juking from that Jakiro. Bought his team a lot of time to get into position, ultimately making it a 2-for-2 trade, where it should have just been a 2-for-1 in favor of Bennett +5.
Yeah, well played by the Jakiro for sure. The tier 1 tower in mid on the side of Bennett +5 has fallen, whereas the one from Kompas Gaming is still standing with only 437 HP. However, it's not long for this world, but it is still giving them that tether close to that Roshan pit, to where Bennett +5 aren't really going to want to fight around there. They do have their Blink Dagger on their Earthshaker to really good timing, and well, still 90 seconds or so until he has Echo Slam, so it's going to be more passive play from Bennett +5 at the very least. They might be forced to defend, but then again, Kompas Gaming are really looking to get super aggressive. They do have the BKB now, and well, I'm going to eat my words as they are going to smoke up and look for a kill here. Let's see if they're going to be able to find it. Currently, Bennett +5 are grouped up fairly close together, and they might be able to find a good initiation. Let's see how this is going to go down. Gyrocopter leading the charge. Where is this actually going to break out? The tier 1 tower in mid is going to be glyphed, and now they're going to look for the call down. It's going to land on all three of the heroes with the first shock. Now Unitid is going to be brought down with flat cannon damage as well as the Nature's Prophet. They hex up IDFC, and on the backlines they do get the hookshot in, but Jinx God is just dropping too low. They're going to find themselves a kill on the Shadow Shaman at the very least. 2-for-2 is the trade. All said and done. They're also going to lose the Spare Pair, so slightly in favor of Kompas Gaming as well as defending their tier 1 tower, actually very much in their favor, and they might even be able to catch out some more. They don't have a missile for another couple of seconds, and they might be able to no, not going to find it. This defensive fissure is going to come through from Blacks, and that's going to be a 2-for-2 trade. All said and done. Fairly even. They lose the Bear, and then they also lose the Nature's Prophet. It's very close. Very close.
Yeah, I would say, for the most part, it's a wash. The Bear gain is, I think, I'm not sure, it got picked up by the Gyrocopter. I'm not entirely sure about that, but either way, there was additional 300 gold going the way of Kompas Gaming, and if the Gyrocopter did pick it up, then he's going to be more than ecstatic about that. The first BKB charge used, and it was pretty damn effective. Landing the call down on 3 heroes to open up a fight is something you rarely see, but if you could make it happen, then fantastic. Also, off of that fight, Jakiro has found enough gold for his mech, so if that fight does happen again, then Kompas Gaming most likely are not going to lose that amount of heroes, but soon they're going to have their hand forced because Bennett +5, they're right into the Roshan pit with the Bear to tank and the main Bear, I guess, to also tank. This is going to be a very easy Roshan for Bennett +5, however, it is now completely spotted out. Do you want to fight into this area with an Earthshaker on the other end, though, and a Clockwork? That's really the question. Kompas Gaming have a Jakiro, which is fantastic here, as is the Gyrocopter, and they are smoked up and closing in, so we'll see how this fight is going to pan out. This Roshan is going to survive for a little bit longer, but RT's looking for a call down, is going to engage and will land right onto Jabane. Now RT's on the BKB. The call down not really going to hit onto anyone. Now the Lone Druid's Bear going to turn around and instantly get hecked up. There's a nice Echo Slam from Blacks, instantly killing off Goddamn. Also Fee is going to drop. The mech is going to keep up for a little bit longer, but the Dragonite is going to get burned down to the Mystic Flare. Now they're going to chase after RT's. One more poison attack is going to secure the battery assault on him. That's going to be a 4-for-0 trade, and Roshan. Bottom lane is being pushed, but Blacks is not going to let this stand. He's going to chase forward for Gorek. Land the Enchant Totem. Land the Fissure straight after. That's going to be a complete 5-man team wipe in favor of Bennett +5 plus the Roshan. They lost absolutely nothing there. Huge wins after a huge Echo Slam from Blacks.
Yeah, that was perfect. Caught everybody on almost the very edge of the enchant radius, so was able to get that instant stun onto 3 and follow up very well came from his team. It was really solid. It was just a little too early coming out from Kompas Gaming. They jumped into the pit before Roshan was really low enough for them to hope for a steal, and then they only got the call down onto the Lone Druid. Ice Path completely missed, and they just didn't really have a lot in the tank. And then when you get triple hero Echo Slammed, and then all those 3 heroes die almost instantly, the rest 2 just need to run for all their worth, and then they get picked off as well. Beautiful fight for Bennett +5. And, well, that's going to make this game look a lot more comfortable for them. That's going to be enough gold to where Lone Druid can complete up his Mjolnir if he wants to, and I think he'll probably do that sooner rather than later. He also has an Aegis, so his Bear will continue doing quite a lot of work in these team fights. He's not going to complete up the Mjolnir just yet, and might be saving for something altogether different, potentially going for an Assault Cuirass instead.
Assault Cuirass is definitely going to help the Viper do a lot more damage. With level 3 Nether Toxin, he will be dishing, even though he hasn't gone for a single damage item. So it should be an Assault Cuirass from the Lone Druid, and after that, Kompas Gaming, most of the damage that RT is putting out is going to be nullified. Still, Kompas Gaming are capable of taking the team fights. Again, the more clustered up Bandit +5 are, the better it's going to be for Kompas Gaming, and clearing these stacks is going to keep the Gyrocopter very close to the net worth of the Lone Druid. So he could realistically still hold on to this game and single-handedly win this for Kompas, but not if they lose another hero right now. Afro Ninja is going to blow the smoke of Jinx God, and they're going to see the Dragon Knight. In the meantime, Gyrocopter also going to die. They're going to get 2 kills here. In fact, BKB is going to eat the Mystic Flare, but the Dragon Knight can't really do much versus Jinx God, although with the Sprout there from Gorak, they will be able to make this a 1-for-1. Don't really know what happened to the Gyrocopter, but it's losing a Gyrocopter at all is really disastrous for Kompas.
He was farming up on this hill, and you just can't do that. With the Blink Earthshaker, it was a Fissure, then Blink into the Enchant Totem. He was just dropped so quickly with the Viper also unbound. And losing an engagement, even though it's not a full 5-on-5, it's still one hero down that's crucial for their team fight. They're going to lose tier 2. They Dragon Tail up IDFC. IDFC is going to drop fairly low. He does have the mech to keep him alive here, although he's going to be forced back. Support's dropped. I'm not sure where they were actually dropped. It is on the other side of this fight. They get a block off onto Bane, but they're just going to be farmed up, and Goddamn needs to get out of there. Blink Dagger available for your Nature's Prophet, and Veil on the Earthshaker. The items are coming out for both sides, but the items that Bened +5 are getting are just going to allow them to fight so much more effectively. This Earthshaker has farm that would be comfortable at 30 minutes in, mostly due to the fact that he just hasn't died very much. 4-1 and 9. Earthshaker has really been on point with his initiations.
Man, a Veiled Echo Slam is going to absolutely wreck Kompas Gaming, especially if they have extra treants in the area. Now, they do have 2 BKBs and Blink Dagger and Nature's Prophet, so the positioning for KPG should be fairly safe, but still, just the imminent threat of that level 2 Echo Slam, level 2 Mystic Flare is absolutely huge. That being said, Kompas Gaming, they do have a lot going for them as well. The Nature's Prophet has been running with the Hand of Midas Maelstrom for a very long time, so he's farming up very, very well. And even though Bandit +5 seem to have firm control of this game in the Golden Experience, still Gorak as well as RTs are farming up quite well. Maybe not so once the Lone Druid does this, just going to go straight for RTs. They're going to be another Entangle. Looks like the answer is no. He will get out alive, the Gyrocopter, but almost got soloed completely by the Lone Druid, who's pretty much the most terrifying hero on the map, and Kompas Gaming don't really have a great answer for him. No Yule Scepter, no Heaven's Halberd for the bear or anything like that, so they have to kill everyone else and leave the bear for last, or just try to focus down the bear. Either way, it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Lone Druid, still at the Aegis, has not a fear in this world, and right now it's just been at +5, getting up their items so that they can comfortably go high ground. We have a hook shot. I believe that missed. Yeah, Jinx God not going to be able to land at that time. He doesn't have the Aghanim Scepter, so it is on cooldown for a decent amount, but they're still just going to start up the group. Blacks is taking up the rear as he's not close enough to actually engage, but he will be there before the fight actually breaks out. Now it's KPG's turn to defend, and with a Lone Druid hitting away at your buildings, it's going to be a pretty difficult one at that. If they group, this could be another beautiful Echo Slam. Currently, it is just going to be the Tier 3 tower, going to be under some pretty heavy siege. It's dropped to already half without anything actually happening. They're going to missile up and stun the Spirit Berries, taking a decent amount of damage, but the Echo Slam comes through from the Earthshaker, going to get a lot of damage off, but doesn't stun all of the heroes that he caught. Blacks is probably going to lose his life here. His stun locking fee is eventually going to fall to the right clicks, and on the backlines, the supports are still doing a decent amount, but the root onto the Dragon Knight being right-clicked down. Viper is probably going to fall. Is he going to survive? IDFC doesn't care, and he will be able to get out. Jinx God is not going to be so lucky as he's shackled up and missiled. 2-for-1 the trade. Not great for either side, to be honest, especially when you look at the Tier 3 tower not being so healthy. But still, high ground defense from KPG.
Yeah, they make the defense happen, and crucially, Lone Druid wasn't really contested at all in that fight. His bear was running wild. No one was attacking it. No one was doing anything to it, but Kompas Gaming, they shuffled out their heroes pretty much perfectly, and Dragon Knight in the front lines was taking pretty much no damage with that BKB. They saved the Nature's Prophet for a lot longer with the Ice Path, and ultimately, Kompas Gaming got a lot of value out of their skills. Like, they had a lot of skills land, and they landed for quite a long time, especially that Macro Pyre. So it's a successful defense for them, but it's a pretty hollow victory because Bandit +5, they lose 2 heroes, and they're going to be okay with losing these 2 heroes because next time they do that, the tower is just going to be dropped. If Bandit +5 lost the Viper and or the Lone Druid, then I would have said, no, it's not a good fight for them. But those two heroes did end up surviving, and these two heroes are the most scary heroes for B+5 by quite a wide margin. Like, everyone else is really not a threat, or not that much of a threat, especially with BKBs on the field. So, Kompas Gaming, their defense is going to buy themselves a little bit more time with Hand of Midas and the Nature Prophet, as I said before, still working overtime. They're going to need every single second that they can get in this game. If they get enough farm in the Nature's Prophet so that he could effectively split push and just rat B+5 out so that they have to defend their own base, and KPG therefore will defend their own, then they'll be in a much better position. Also, DK heading on towards his Assault Cuirass, Gyrocopter heading towards an MKB. These are all really essential items for Kompas Gaming that they need in order to fight, but I don't know if they're going to get the time because B+5, it looks like they're just gearing up to go for round 2 on mid lane.
Yeah, it seems that way. They are going to have all of their tools available. Echo Slam just coming off of cooldown for Blacks, and it's, I don't know, just going to be round 2. All of the tools are also available for Kompas Gaming, and they are going to have completed Mjolnir, I believe, on Gorik here. He does have that on the courier whenever he wants to deliver that. He is going to be operating without buyback, and if he gets caught out, it could be pretty huge. Clockwork a little too far away, and they won't be able to cancel that TP, but the fight might break out on top. They're going to Viper Strike up Fee, looking for the root. Will they be able to find the root? They are going to find the root, and Fee is going to fall. Yeah, only 2 hits, it's going to be enough for the Lone Druid to claim a victim, and with the Jakiro down, that's going to be another piece of the puzzle out from Kompas Gaming for this next defense. Although the lanes aren't really in B+5's favor, so it probably is just going to be the one pickoff. But Nature's Prophet, caught up by the Clockwork, going to be soloed up with the Blade Mail as well as the Battery Assault working, will be enough to get that kill. Jinx God finds yet another pick, and that's going to be 3 versus 5 for the next 20 seconds at the very least. Jakiro will be back for the defense, but Nature's Prophet, since he completed up the Mjolnir, is not going to have buyback for this engagement.
And he wasn't able to fight against the Clockwork because of that Blade Mail. Would have done a lot more damage to himself than he would have dealt to the Clock. Despite that, he did do his job in that he did delay the top lane push by killing off a creep wave before he himself did go down. That also being said, it didn't really do enough because now B+5 they're just going to go towards mid lane, and that's the tower. That's the lane that they would much rather push because the tower is already so weak. No huge advancements as far as the items are concerned. The Aghanim Scepter, I believe, is a new one for the Viper, but that's about it from the B+5 side. Kompas Gaming don't really have any huge item advancements of their own, so it's pretty much going to be the exact same thing as last fight, except without a Nature's Prophet. The Bear on the front line is going to attack with an Ice Path, Dragon Tail as well, and the call down. All this damage being focused on the Bear, and they will kill him off despite the mech, forcing out the resummon. And now B+5, all of a sudden, they probably don't want to fight this as much. They're going to have to worry about Nature's Prophet, who should go, straight up to the top lane with the Mjolnir, clear out all those creeps in a flash. And it looks like B+5, once again, they're going to be repelled. They still have access in, especially with Jinx God with the hookshot available, but it's just a little bit more risky now, since if they lose the Bear another time, then suddenly they're down pretty much 14,000 worth of net worth.
Yeah. And, well, they're not going to take that risk and just farm up. They definitely can do so pretty effectively. I don't think they're actually going to go for another push until they find Roshan, although it's a very long Roshan timer, or a fairly long Roshan timer, I should say. 1 minute and a half until that's available. If they find another pickoff, that changes the story, but at least for another minute and a half, we're probably not going to see an engagement, unless somebody dies. Gorik is the one that needs to be most careful, but with a Blink Dagger as well as Global TP, he should keep himself scarce across the map.
Alright, so now it's time for KPG to just wrap this one out as much as they can. Put pressure on the lanes, look for a single pickoff, and try to keep B+5 off balance. Killing off the Lone Druid is going to be priority number 1, because he's going to be another minute without his Bear. It's a really tall order, and I don't know if they have it in them to get this kill. But if they do somehow manage to make it happen, then it's going to be a huge chunk of time where B+5 are going to be unable to push. Looks like Jabane0 is not going to give them that opening, which kind of sucks for Kompas Gaming, but they're still fine pushing out the top lane and just buying as much time as possible. If they push out the top lane enough, then by the time the Roshan responds, they will be able to make a substantial defense. That's a level 2 Dragonite with the full splash damage. It does work in the Roshan pit, even though Dragonite doesn't actually do that much damage. Hitting everyone is certainly going to add up. Also, the Jakiro is going to be doing so much work in there, as will the Gyrocopter. They all don't have buybacks, though, so it's a very delicate situation for Kompas Gaming. If they do go down, it'll probably be mid-lane Raxes at the very least. And it looks like everyone from B+5, well, they're slowly going to start to converge up on top. Jabane is going into a very dangerous situation. Missile will scout out Fee, but that's about it. Goddamn, I believe is still hidden. They could go for this one, but they're going to play it safe, not knowing how many heroes are behind this Lone Druid. They could have gotten away with that if they just went in for the Lone Druid. That would have been such a great pick-off, but they played it safe instead.
Yep. As, I don't know, unfortunate as it is that they didn't go for that. If there were more heroes behind the lone druid, it definitely would have been very problematic for them, and they just don't have the map vision in order to go for something like that. It would have been huge, but in the Roshan pit, Bennett +5 are going to go, and this Roshan is probably just going to be left completely uncontested. Hook shot from Jinx God is going to be off the mark, and they're not going to be able to find that. Lone druid gets himself yet another Aegis, and it is going to be more golden experience in the pockets of Bennett +5.
Alright, so another Aegis is going to mean that the push from Bennett +5 is going to continue. Top lane still being pushed out a little bit by the Gyrocopter, plus goddamn, they might feel like they should invest the Serpent Wards in this, but I think that will just be a mistake because they need these Serpent Wards for the defense. They will probably not get this tier 3 tower, despite the fact they're putting some pretty serious damage onto it. They're keeping Bennett +5 on tilt. The bottom lane is being pushed with the Meal near static charge, demolishing that creep wave, in fact. And top lane's also being pushed. KPG, they're just buying time, and that's the name of the game right now. Delay, 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 and wait for your Gyrocopter to get bigger.
Yep, that's pretty much it. We are going to have the complete MKB now in Artis, so he's going to be doing quite a bit of physical damage in the team fights. Although, he still can't sit comfortably in the middle of everybody, as even with the BKB, it's going to negate a lot of the damage, sure, but they still can focus him down with only 1500 HP on the Gyrocopter. He really needs a couple more items before he can actually sit in between everybody else. So yeah, it's just kind of the waiting game for KPG, and they're playing it out pretty well, with the Nature's Prophet keeping the lanes pushed out, and the Gyrocopter also getting a decent amount of farm. It is going to be try number 3 for this mid lane of Barracks, so we have from Bennett +5. Into the mid lane they're going to go. The tier 3 tower still stands, but it's not going to stand very long. With the Spirit Bear auto-attacking onto it, it's going to be very easy for them to take it. We do have a completed BKB on the Spirit Bear, so what they did last time to stop this push is not going to be available. 10 seconds where the Spirit Bear can just go wild on the tower is going to be 10 seconds, and the tower is down, and probably a Barracks after the fact. So, into the push we're going to go. They are not going to initiate any teamfights, but the Tier 3 tower is going to fall down. The Ice Path is dropped, the Viper Strike also going to some of the illusions of the Dragon Knight. That's not the biggest loss for Bennett +5 either, since they do have an Aghanim Scepter on their Viper, so it's just slow and steady. And, well, the push is going to come up with this next creep wave. The Nature's Prophet Treants are mopped up. And, well, the creep wave is going to be cleared by both sides pretty quickly. The mech is going to keep the creeps alive, and now with the BKB on the Spirit Bear, this might be an opening. Call down is going to be used, and they're just going to get as much chip as they can onto the range barrier. Stun's going the way of the Spirit Bear, didn't pop the BKB off, and, well, it's going to be just fine as the BKB now pops the Bear now pops the BKB. It is not going to do anything with it, more or less. Now starts chipping away at the melee barracks, and more than chipping, just chunking away at it. Artis with his BKB is still slowed down with the Viper Strike, and they're not going to find themselves the barracks. If that Spirit Bear just popped the BKB and went for the melee barracks, it would have been fairly easy. On the backline, we have Gork with his Black King bar pop. They are going to jump in with a hookshot, not landing on any of the heroes, but it will stun up Afo and Ninja. They're going to lose their Clockwork, but in return, they're going to find themselves the Gyrocopter. IDFC is being focused down by the Dragon Knight and upclipped by an Ice Path. He's probably going to be dropped as the Echo Slam is more or less just going to land onto Afo and Ninja solo. The Nostalgic Hero is still surviving with a very little amount of HP. The Enchant Totem Slam will be enough to get that last hit, and somehow Blacks is still surviving throughout all of this with 36 HP. It's going to be dropped down by Goddamn. It is going to be a 3 for 3. The barracks still stand, however. It is going to be Gork looking for Jabane Ziri. He's going to find him inside the Sprout, now trying to right-click him down to blink to pursue. And Gusshot's going to delay things, but Jabane still might fall. Is he going to be able to run away fast enough? GP in from the Nature's Prophet, juking to the left. They're going to find themselves a Unidin instead. Jabane Zero is still surviving, potentially not for long. He's going to be able to get the kill in return on the Shadow Shaman. Jabane Zero is still being pursued by Gork. Does not have a TP, but will get some vision with those Treants. Still waiting for the chase. 6 seconds before he has the TP, and Jabane cannot feel comfortable. Where's the TP from the Nature's Prophet? Is he going to be able to find it? They're pinging out, trying to guess where he's going. He's actually not going to go anywhere, it seems. He's going to check out this spot, now looking for the TP. He's going to completely miss it as Jabane is walking back to base instead of TPing, and that's going to be all she wrote. 4 for the trade, but the melee barracks were not brought down, and now will regenerate.
MVPs of that fight for Kompas Gaming, Shadow Shaman and Nature's Prophet. They were leaving the heavier heroes in the Dragon Knight and the Gyrocopter to fight up against the bulk of the Bennett +5 side. Meanwhile, the Shadow Shaman literally used all of his disables to focus down the Spirit Bear. They killed it off, and then after that, Lone Druid, he has nothing. He's a hero with Tranquil Boots and Magic Wand. It's a very, very bad hero. So they focused down the Lone Druid Bear after killing him off. After killing the bear off first time after the BKB usage, they knocked it down a second time, and then after that, Bennett +5 were not able to fight. A huge pickoff for Kompas Gaming. It did take them a long time. They had the Serpent Wards firing the entire time, plus the Lone Druid focusing that bear, literally not doing anything but right-clicking, wasn't even moving. but still it was just enough. And the other heroes, Affinage as well as RTs, they dropped low and they died occasionally and stuff like that. But ultimately it bought them enough time so that they killed off everyone from Bennett +5, or most of the heroes from Bennett +5, and the damage that the melee Raxes have taken are pretty much all but restored right now. So all in all, it's a pretty huge win for Kompas Gaming after that last fight, as the gold end experience kind of reflects that. They're still going to need a little bit more if they want to be truly comfortable, as they do catch out Jabane with the Ice Path, the Liquid Fire as well. Goddamn, looking for a Hex, but now the BKB on the lone Druid. That's not going to do jack. You got to put that on the Bear, regardless if he is going to be hit with the Mystic Flare. Now the Serpent Ward's going to block onto Jabane. They could focus the Bear, but instead they're going to go for the main Druid. Here comes Gorak with the BKB, looking for a Sprout onto Jabane. They will find it. He's going to try to TP out. Where's the tail? It's not going to be there. Jabane will teleport alive, but the Bear does go down. He doesn't have another resummon for another minute. Here comes Jinx God. Going to land a 2-man cog with the 2-man Echo Slam. That's a double kill for Black, but now RT's in the BKB is forced to just run away. A huge pickoff for Kompas Gaming, but ultimately Blacks with the Echo Slam is going to do the damage. They're going to look for, goddamn, they're not going to find him. But Bennett +5, because they lost the Bear once again. That's 45 seconds where they don't have their biggest hero. And that's going to mean that they can't effectively make a push happen off of this.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to push, but then again, it's still comfortable for them to take it. They aren't going to have the double resummon as a Clockwork Hook Shot, just a creep wave going to clear that one up. Jinx God finds himself a little bit more gold in that respect. Had that been on the Shadow Shaman or the Gyrocopter, it could have been huge, as the BKB is still on cooldown for the Gyro. But Gyrocopter, speaking of him, he really hasn't progressed in items after the Monkey King bar. He still has enough to be effective, but down in the mid, they're going to go, and the Lone Druid going to have a Bear in 10 seconds. I'm not even sure if they're going to need it. They're zoning everybody out pretty effectively. Scar's Mage ultimate completely whiffs, but the melee barracks is going to be the target of focus for Bennett +5, and they're going to be able to take it without the Bear, or maybe they won't. The melee barracks is going to be glyphed up, and now the Bear is available. They're going to split their focus onto the range barracks. They just need to get one of these down. They're looking for it. Eventually, we'll be able to find it. Now the range barracks is going to fall as well. They hex up the Spirit Bear. This is going to be a huge pickoff if they can get that one, but they're not going to be able to engage. Shadow Shaman's probably just going to take down the poison damage, and he will. Melee barracks down. Bennett +5 find themselves a pretty big opening, and that's going to be about it. No other way for them to chase outside of Nature's Prophet TPing in. They're not going to be able to find Uniden inside the trees. Top was pushing from the Nature's Prophet, but now Lone Druid's going to mop up that farm. Nature's Prophet does the right thing, goes down towards bottom, but still, Gorak, he's not able to do enough.
RT still wants in, though, and looks like Gorak is going to run straight into the Viper. Hookshot in for Jinx God, not going to hit, and the BKB from Nature's Prophet is there. They're going to try to get him through the teleportation. It won't be enough. Here comes RT's with a nice 3-man call down. Now in the BKB himself, returning a lot of damage back onto the Bennett +5 side, but unable to kill off anyone just yet. Going to try to kill off the Viper and Jinx God at the same time, but it looks like they're both going to survive, especially with the cogs now up. RT's dropping very low. The Macro Pyre is down. Will kill off the Earthshaker. That's at the expense of a very expensive Gyrocopter. Where's the Lone Druid? He needs to teleport into this. He's going to teleport, looking for Jinx God, though. The teleportation in is going to be met with a teleportation out. And that is going to be that. Trading the Earthshaker for the Gyrocopter, a huge loss for Kompas Gaming. As you said, a hero that's already struggling with item progression is going to be slowed down even longer. And the damage has already been done in the mid lane. Like Bennett +5, they get exactly what they came for. They get the mid Raxes, and after that, the secondary and tertiary sets of Raxes are going to be that much easier. This Spirit Bear is absolutely huge, and if they can't, Kompas Gaming, focus this Bear, isolate him, and kill him off, then they're going to be at its mercy for the entirety of the game. It's 16-30, and we might be seeing a little bit of a repeat of the last game, where Bennett +5 are going to be slowly chipping away at the Raxes, though Kompas Gaming, they're still capable of taking these fights. It's just getting more and more difficult for them as this game progresses.
Yeah, Viper now at the heart, and we're looking at Basher #1 picked up by the Lone Druid as soon as he farms buyback, I would say. So yeah, it's just going to get that much harder for them. A lot rests on this Nature's Prophet being able to keep these lanes out. He's a pretty potent right-clicking threat, although he just doesn't have the items to really threaten the set of barracks or a tier 3 tower even on his own. Yeah, no Desolator, no Necronomicon. BKB forced out by the Dragon Knight as he TPs back away from Jinx God and Uniden, and there's just not a safe place for them on the map. Yeah, Kompas Gaming, they just need to be so careful.
If Bennett +5 stay as a group and make sure that they don't get picked off by any smokes, then they should be able to methodically push these lanes and try to force fights near the Kompas Gaming side, where the Lone Druid, Bear, and the BKB is going to be the most devastating force. Also, the Viper, with the Heart of Taras completed, is going to be nigh unkillable from Kompas Gaming. He's already a very difficult hero to kill off inherently, but having that additional heart is going to make it even more difficult to do so. Everyone from Kompas Gaming are smoked up, but I think this is pretty obvious to Bennett +5 because mid lane is not being counter pushed at all. Top lane, Gorak is going to be trying to cut that one as best as he can, but just buying as much time as he possibly can. Really, I said that was the objective like 15 minutes ago. It still holds true right now, but it's going to be a little bit weaker as V is going to hit with the hook shot and the Mystic Flare. Goodbye, Jakiro. Easy kills for the Skywrath Mage and Clockwork combo, and well, the bottom lane is still pushing in. It's going to force rotations every which way. The Rat from the Nature's Prophet is going to help out a little bit, but definitely not enough. Right now, B+5, they're just stalling for Roshan. It's going to respawn very shortly, and I don't think Kompas Gaming are going to be able to defend the Roshan, let alone defend the Aegis push straight after.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair an assessment of this game, and currently Gorik, he needs to get out of there. He's being collapsed upon by the Lone Druid as well as the Viper. Not the best combo to kill him, who will blink away and probably TP out, and there you go. Up to top he goes, he will farm up some camps, and he's doing his best to keep these lanes on. He's doing a pretty darn good job of it. A little too little, however. Gyrocopter, still items are going nowhere, as 2,000 gold in the bank, and I don't know, at one point do you start considering the Divine Rapier for Dejaro? I think he needs at least a Satanic before he can actually go for that, and ideally would have the Butterfly on top of it, but honestly, he might be forced into making that decision faster than he hopes for if the second set of racks goes down.
Yeah, beggars most certainly cannot be choosers, and at this situation, at this junction of the game, Kompas Gaming are going to be begging for anything that they could possibly get. If this isn't a Divine Rapier game, then I honestly don't know what is. He would love the lifesteal, he would love the evasion, all these tools that he would really like to have to feel safe with the Divine Rapier, but now he's facing down a Viper with an Aegis and Cheese on the Lone Druid. Killing any of these heroes off for B+5 is going to be really difficult without a Hail Mary. And Gyrocopter is still a huge amount of gold, I believe 3,200 away from a Divine Rapier, so even if he does decide to go for this item, it's going to require a lot more stalling from the rest of his team. And if he buys anything else, then I just don't think it's going to happen. But so far, Kompas Gaming, they are doing okay being a racks down. They just have to make sure that they keep B+5 off balance and make sure that they can't get all the heroes together for a nice little push. Any pick-off at all from Kompas Gaming is going to be huge, and it looks like that attempt might be going up towards the top lane, where Goddamn and Fee both are around, though getting a kill on Jinx God is tough. He has the tankiness of the Clockwork plus the Aghanim Scepter to get him out with the hook shot. He's going to spot RTs and possibly even spot Afroninja as well, but no pick-offs are going to happen for Kompas Gaming. B+5 are playing this super safe.
Lone Druid is going to forego having his buyback available for at least a couple of minutes, where he picks up the Vladimir's offering as well as his first basher, presumably going towards his bear. Yeah, the bear at this point is ridiculously scary, and now the ability to lock you down through BKB is absolutely crazy. You are going to have your Mjolnir on top of it, as well as another item for the Spirit Bear, whatever it may be, is still available to be purchased. But right now, this is one of the peaks of Lone Druid's power. Despite having 12 slots to fill, he doesn't need to really be a strong hero. And down bottom, they're going to be able to group up and go. Top lane is pushing out fairly effectively, but they're going to force everybody back. Here's your 5-on-5 engagement about to start.
Alright, this is the big chance for Kompas Gaming. If they hold this, they might buy enough time for a nice comeback later on, but they're going to force staff the Viper in, then he gets force staff right back out for Ninja. And he focused down by the bear. He's pretty tanky, this Dragon Knight, but he doesn't have any backup. Hookshot in from Jinx God is going to whiff, and now the Macro Pyre is going to zone out and do a lot of damage to everyone. The bear is still going to town onto Goddamn, and it looks like they will be able to isolate and kill off the bear, force a resummon. It's a pretty nice win for Kompas Gaming, but Afroninja going to get tagged with the Mystic Flare. Instantly he buys back, and he desperately needed that one as well. IDFC is still with that Aegis on him. Lone Druid, it's much more viable to kill off his bear a second time, but so far Kompas Gaming, they're holding for now. They'll have another cooldown in 6 seconds, and they will have access to the fountain, and they will dip right in, make sure everyone's at full in order to defend in the future. But I think picking off that bear might just be enough to defend this in total. Gyrocopter has gone for lifesteal, so he's not going to go for the Hail Mary just yet. But now it's going to be the secondary push with a secondary bear. Ice Path onto everyone. There's no Macro Pyre in this fight. Now Force Staff once again onto the Viper. Call down is going to land on 2. V, though, taking so much damage. BKB up on Gorak. He's going to snipe Unidin off to the side, and they're going to all focus the bear now. The Spirit Bear is going to go down. That's a huge pick off for KBG. Gorak getting focused down off the sidelines. He does have buyback. No, yeah, he does have buyback. He will use it immediately. Now going to go for IDFC. Huge Echo Slam from back, so going to kill off Goddamn. Afroninja with the BKB up. Can't really do that much because he's not in his Dragon form, but here comes Gorak. 2 shots will kill off Blacks. Now going to go for for IDFC. He'll bring him down as well. The Gyrocopter trying to give chase. They don't have enough chasing power to kill off this Viper, and even if they do, he has Aegis. He's going to try to get to the high ground. He's going to sprout. No, it's not going to get vision, but Gorek's going to blink forward. Killing off this Viper is really tough with the heart regen. He will be brought down. Now he has a respawn. I think they can kill him a second time, though. They just need the Dragon Tail and the Rocket Barrage. They will do so. They're going to shred this Viper. They've killed off 3 of the Bennett +5 heroes. It took a buyback from the Nature's Prophet, but they held. Their tower survives, the Raxes survive, and the Lone Druid, he lost his bear twice. That's pretty much the ideal fight for Kompas Gaming right there.
Yeah, more or less completely ideal. And Gyrocopter is going to be operating with that Helm of Dominator. I think his next item is still going to be that Divine Rapier, but he's ways away from it. He might just go safe and pick up like the Satanic afterwards, maybe build into a Butterfly. But either way, there's still a glimmer of hope for Kompas Gaming. They're able to defend. They need to defend a lot longer, but this game, more than last, they have heroes that scale a lot better with those big items, and there's at least the hope for that big Hail Mary coming out from the Gyrocopter.
Prophet getting frighteningly huge as well. He's got a Daedalus on his person, and he's able to focus down those supports very easily with the Blink Die. You're getting down to the back lines. It gets a little hairy, of course, once he does draw the attention of the Lone Druid, and between Basher and all the magic damage that the Bear's putting out with the Maelstrom, it's a lot of damage that the Nature's Prophet can't really contest. But if he gets to the back line, snipes out the Earthshaker or the Skywrath Mage, ideally both, then it's going to be just a huge amount of momentum for Kompas Gaming, because really the rest of the heroes, Bennett +5, despite the amount of damage they're putting out, they're still struggling to kill off the likes of the DK. They'll continue to struggle since he now has a Talisman. I expect that to be turned into a Heaven's Halberd down the road. To slap that on the Bear, and then suddenly the Bear is doing literally nothing but providing auras for his team. Artis, though, he's in a precarious situation over in the mid lane. He's getting hit with the Rod of Atos, and he's going to dodge the Mystic Flare. In fact, they get a Hex onto Unidid. Serpents are being deployed for the Skywrath Mage. Now here comes the Bear with the BKB. Ice Path is going to connect with the Bear, still taking quite a bit of damage. In fact, the Bear might even go down here. Jinx God getting a nice hook shot, push back onto Artis, as well as Fee. Now Gorek going to jump right in. The Bear still at full HP. Was actually, I don't know what happened there. Might have been cheesed up, in fact. Yeah, the Spirit Bear ate the cheese. Skywrath Mage is going to buy back, and now Fee, the only one who's in a little bit of trouble, will get hook shot, and it will be the death of the Jakiro. Not really the most important hero to keep alive, but at the same time, the Jakiro is not going to be up for a Macropyre in this upcoming fight. That's 50 seconds, where it's going to be a 4v5, and Bennett +5 now are going to look to slide down to the bottom lane. As, yeah, you can see the line being drawn by Blacks. He wants the bottom set of Raxes, and he's probably going to get it as well.
Yeah. Lone Druid is going to have the second resummon for his Bear, and with the cheese, it's going to be very healthy for this push as well. He is going to poof it down, and they're looking for it. With the creeps in mid, they should be able to take this tower very easily, and yeah, just look at the Bear chunking down that tier 3 tower, and the melee barracks is probably going to be soon to follow. Although 5 seconds is going to delay it enough to maybe get into position for a defense, it's just not enough. They need everybody at bounds, and they're going to drop a call down. It's going to be a decent one, although it doesn't do enough. Will repel them for a little bit longer. The melee barracks is still looking precariously low. There's a 4-staff, just going to be a defensive one, and that'll keep everybody safe. They are going to get a stun the clockwork from the missile, and will be forced back by the Nature's Prophet, who got a tier 3 tower of his own down in bottom. I don't think they're going to find any pickoffs, at least on the Nature's Prophet. He's going to be able to TP back to the rest of the fight. But yeah, that's going to be about it. Tier 3 for tier 3. No kills going either way. Fine for Kompas Gaming.
Yeah, they make a defense, they don't lose their Raxes, and really that's the bare minimum for a victory for them, and I think they were going to be okay with that. Nature's Prophet going to be going for the Manta style, so he's going to be full-on rat pushing, trying to draw the attention away from Bennett +5 and just snipe off whatever he can, whenever he can, and just get this Gyrocopter more time. He is going to go for the Satanic, though, so this Gyrocopter is not going to be putting out much damage for a very, very long time, and Bennett +5, if they get a single pick off at all, they can turn this in that very easily into a push. Whereas Kompas Gaming, because I guess they have a Nature's Prophet, so they have to rely on the momentum inherently to get that. But now the Echo Slam in, they're going to get Gorek, but he does pop the BKB. Now going to go straight down on Blacks. RT's right behind him. Gorek is going to be brought down, throws the Wrath of Nature before he dies, but he will go down in the end. RT's now going to get chased down by a very angry Bear. No bashes, no entangles just yet. He's going to throw the missile, but now the bashes and entangles. RT's and Gorek are going to go down. That's about as bad as it gets. And also Jakiro in the back end. Kompas Gaming, they suddenly have only 2 heroes up. And, well, the heroes that are down do not have a buyback.
Yeah, that's going to be 60 seconds with no Gyro, 100 seconds with no Nature's Prophet, and even 40 seconds without a Jakiro. Shadow Shaman and Dragon Knight don't have much of a chance of defending against this oncoming push. They might not lose all 3 lines of racks, but I think this is Mega Creeps, more or less. Let's see, the bottom lane almost for sure going to fall. Even against backdoor protection, it doesn't matter. And there it's going to dissipate as the Creeps are now into the base. And that's going to be your first lane. And now up in the top, they are going to go. Just going to play this safe. There's no reason to go for the GG push. Although, for all intents and purposes, this might be considered it. If there is a hero that is going to push against melee Creeps, it is your Gyrocopter. But not with the items that he's gone for. He went safe. He went for the Satanic, and that's just not going to cut the cake. You're going to have the range barracks falling up top. That's Mega Creeps.
And I don't really know if Kompas Gaming can do this. They struggled to do it last time, but they got away with it somewhat, but now they're just so far behind. Really, it's Kompas Gaming deciding to take a fight that far away from their Disables and the Shadow Shaman, who is doing his own thing completely. They're just going to fight this one out, but against Mega Creeps, Afro Ninja's going to get beaten down by the bear, and it's pretty much all over from here on out. Kompas Gaming, they took a risk in taking a fight that far away, and they tried to catch Jabane Zero off guard, or they tried to defend against Black's gank attempts, but at the end of the day, Gorak and Gyrocopter both aren't the type of hero that could straight fight the bear, and that's what you need, or that's what they were forced to do, and they just couldn't make it happen. If they were different heroes, if they were a Lycan, they would be more than happy to just man-fight the bear, but Lone Druid as well as Gyrocopter, they need their space, and if they don't get the space, the bear is going to maul them to death. So guys, at the end of the day, B+5 are going to take this series 2-0 in the playoff division. I don't know exactly how it's going to work from here on out, but I'm sure I'll let you know later on. What you have to know is that B+5 are looking pretty good. Oh, okay, so that's going to be the end of this best of 3. There's another game coming out later, but it's just a one-shot, so it's going to be pretty easy. I've been Mike Loris. I'm joined by Grandis V. If you enjoyed the cast, then please be sure to hit that follow button on HeflaTV 2, and also go to HeflaTV 1 and follow us there as well. As for your casters, you can find me at Mike Loris. You can find him at Grandis V. And if you want to follow HeflaTV in general a little bit more in depth, then it's going to be Facebook and Twitter.com/HeflaTV. The VODs will be up on YouTube.com/HeflaMoke soon enough. And I think that should be it. Do you have anything else to say, man?
Not really. The next game, I believe, is in 3.5 hours, and let me check who's actually going to be playing there. But it is just going to be a best-of-1 tiebreaker, if I'm not mistaken. And it is going to be between Boreal and Isris Gaming. So a pretty solid game if you want to stick around, but I'm pretty sure we're going to take the stream down. Either way, thanks for watching, and that was a pretty good series to watch.
Yep. See you later, guys. Be sure to tune in again in that 3-some-odd hours. Till then, GG.